Hello, hello, hello. What is going on? There. Is that better? Hi. How's everyone doing? 1st of February. Good morning, Kimmery. Good to see you here. I'm using a new camera and new software, and I am just a tad bit confused. Good morning, Rachel. Good morning, Patricia. It's just now afternoon here, so. Okay, I just wanted to be sure that my little sign down there was reading the proper direction, because to me it shows backwards. $1 at a time. Hello, how are you? Okay, so it's the 1st of February. Time to get your bookkeeping in order for January. Hopefully everything is done from December. All of 22. Yeah, all of 2022. Thrift and Sista, how are you? Good to have you. Love it. I love it. If anyone wants to come on, let me see how I invite. There's the link. You can join me on screen. I think I can do up to like 6 people. If not, that's okay too. So if you haven't gotten your bookkeeping done, I'm perfectly fine with you just hitting mute, knocking it out, and then coming back. If you have questions before you get started, feel free to pop those questions in the chat or jump on the video with me, the call with me live, and ask them live, whichever one is. Oh, yay! And hi, Patty. Welcome.
Hi,
How are you?
I'm good. I do have some questions.
Okay, let's go.
Let me get my notes. Wait a minute.
No problem. $1 at a time says, where does last week of January go to? Not sure I understand what you mean. So maybe you can clarify that question while Patty asks her questions.
Okay, so in the expenses, I use Posher VA. And where do I put that expense at? It's $25 a month.
Okay, that would go into cost of goods other, because it is
Okay.
part, or you can put it in advertising, because either way it's the same, right? I mean, it is advertising that when we use that, it is advertising to get those listings populated in front of people, or cost of goods other, because it is part of your cost of goods in order to
Okay, and then I bought a storage building, a
okay.
12 by 32 foot storage building. I paid cash for it. Well, I paid cash for the building, but I did do a loan for half of the amount through the bank. So do I just put the total amount for the building in somewhere, or do I do these payments every month? How do I do that?
Either way, whichever one that you would like to do would be an acceptable solution. So you bought that this year or you bought that for last year?
I bought it this year.
You bought it this year. Okay. So and what it doesn't really matter because it's one of those things that you could 179 deduct if you wanted to. The easiest way to do it would just be because if it's a nominal, if it's not like, I don't know, thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars, then I would just put it under equipment.
Yeah, it was $8,800.
Yeah, that's fine. You can just put that one under equipment and take it all at once. If you think your business is going to handle all of that um, deduction this year, and
I don't know. That's the
how
I
about
don't
this?
know.
You can put it there for now, and then if we need to move it at the end of the year, we can move it at the end of the year.
Okay, okay, and then, also with Posh gross sales, so I'm putting that gross number in for Poshmark, and then,
Okay, and then
20% and all
also
that stuff, that
with
so
hot gross
so under the
sales.
Poshmark thing where your other income is, you know, that's my other income stream. So do I put in the gross sales, right?
Okay, you always put in your gross sales and then you make sure that you get all their fees out. Now, I'm on Posh, so when I didn't get a 1099 from them this year, but I did help someone else that got a 1099, and I went through the CSV file that we can download and um, looked at that against the 1099. I got really close, but they're doing something on the backside that I don't have privy to that information.
Okay, yeah, I didn't get a 1099.
Okay, so if you did not get a 1099, this is what I want you to do. And if you need help with it, if anybody needs help with this, let me know. I haven't done a video yet to kind of walk people through it. So you could send me the file and I can fix it for you. But if I get too many of them, I might need to figure something else out. But when you download the CSV file, if you get the gross total and then the net total, and
Yeah, I have that.
okay, subtract the net from the gross,
Okay.
and then that's your fees. That's
Mhm.
all the expenses that's come out. And let's see. I just did a post about this the other day.
So where do I put the expenses at then? Because 'Cause I'm talking this I did January's number.
Okay.
So
So you would put that into cost of goods, other costs, the same as for eBay or any other platform. It's
okay,
part of your cost of goods. Um, so anything that it takes to get from your product from you to the customer is going to be part of your cost of goods.
oh, okay.
Okay. So any of the supplies that you buy specifically to ship your items, part of your cost of goods. Um, the fees for the platforms, again, part of your cost of goods. And we always want to do the total, the gross number that the platform has, and then subtract out all of the deductions
Okay.
because it's going to be the closest to the 1099 once people reach getting a 1099, then
Mhm.
it's going to be the closest. And you don't want it to look, the IRS expects us to be putting the gross number in, not the net number in.
Okay, and then One last question.
Mhm.
Um, I have to remember what it was. Uh, what was it? What?
It's okay. When you remember, we can come back to it.
Okay. All right. Yeah, because it just like flew away.
Alrighty. Let's see. Let me catch up with the chat right quick. $1 at a time. Get Rachel in here. Hi, Rachel. Hi, Sheila.
Why?
Welcome, welcome.
I'm having like I'm hearing you twice. Do you know how to
Me
fix
too.
Okay, let's see. That is. Okay, do you have, if you're in here, then you also have YouTube on,
Oh, okay. Hold on. I see.
just mute the YouTube.
Got it. Okay. Muted YouTube.
Okay. Yeah,
Um,
did that.
I think I have a few questions too. But to what you were just saying regarding the Poshmark CSV. So I downloaded that also for well, I'm still working on 2021, as you know. So, and I did get a 1099K for 2022. So it's the first time I've gotten one from them. So let me think where well, I'll probably have to have you, like you were saying, help me with the other one. But I have a question regarding, and maybe this is not a question for here, but like, so I've opened a second account so that like my all my stuff isn't intermingled. I opened a savings account instead of a checking account. So I kind of screwed that up. But what I'm trying to figure out is like after I pay my business bills and expenses, like do I just move out the balance? Do I leave it in? Like how do I pay myself? Like what is the right way to kind of do that?
Okay, so there's no right or wrong way. Some people that have other income and they don't need the money, they just leave it there. People that need some of the money, they only take out what they need. For example, I don't pay myself a set amount, right? But if I have bills to pay that are personal bills, I'll move a few hundred or whatever it is that I need out of it when I need it. I move it out, I put it in my personal account, and then I pay my personal bills from there.
Okay, so it doesn't really matter. Like, so like I'm paying my bills now for, February. So I just move the money out of, like, I have all the money from the platforms going into one account
Yep.
and I'm going to pay the bills. So I just move the money out. Okay. I didn't know if there was like some, like, do I need to make notes or whatever? And
No, you don't, because here's the thing. Until you get to an S corp, until you do an LLC S corp and you are you are on payroll, and then and even still, anything that's left over after, and I don't mean in the bank account, I mean on your taxes. You've got your gross, you've got all your deductions, and it all goes through on your Schedule C, and then all of whatever's left over there goes to your 1040, and then you get your deductions over there, and then whatever's left, you pay tax on that. So it has nothing to do with what's in your bank account.
okay.
It's only what shows up on paper on your taxes, and anything that doesn't get properly deducted, you're going to pay tax on, and is yours anyway.
Got it.
So you
Okay.
don't have to account for owner's draws.
Okay. So it's really just the okay, I got it. It's just the total, so it doesn't. So really, just the separate accounts is just for like ease of like knowing, all of this money coming in that's from business is going into this one account, and then I can keep track. Easier to keep track from there. I have to make some adjustments, but
So it's not only for that reason. So there's liability reasons that you want to not commingle your funds.
Right.
So if for some reason somebody tried to come after you and you have all of your business funds in just the one business account, then they can't touch your personal, or you have I can't say they can't, I'm not a lawyer. They are going to have a harder time touching your personal if it's separated. And the first step once you become an LLC is to make sure that nothing is commingled. So if you're doing that as a sole prop, then you've already met the first requirement to become an LLC. So it just keeps things nice. And
so do you think, then I guess my question maybe is more best practices. Like, I mean, I got kind of what you said. So like, do you think best practice is to like not really leave much money in the business account, is to only leave like what is needed to pay the monthly bills for my business and take out the rest? Or like, I mean, like what do you do? You know, what is your best practices? I mean, I think you kind of already answered that, but I just want to make sure that I'm clear.
okay, so personally, when I reach a certain amount in my business account and it's not money that I'm going to, like, for example, most of us are in tech script, right? And we always want to be prepared if one of those big buys comes along.
All right.
But that doesn't mean that we can't move money out of the business account in order to have the money available, right? We don't have to keep it in there in order to have the money available for one of those things. Now, I do want to keep a pretty good chunk in there because I don't want to be moving money back and forth.
Right.
So once I get to a certain level, anything kind of over that, I'll put into a separate savings account that can be used for wherever. I kind of look at it as once it comes out of there, it's more personal and I can use it anywhere unless I needed it to go get one of these, a really good buy or something. But what that number is for you is really going to be personally based on your business. So, maybe you want to keep $5,000 in your business account. Maybe you only want to keep $100 in your business account. I mean, it kind of goes back to what kind of money you spend on your inventory and what you may need to have access to in the future.
Got it. Okay, perfect. That's perfect. Thank you.
Okay.
I'm probably going to have a few more questions, but
no problem. I'm going to catch up with the chat right quick. And Sheila,
I have a question.
Yeah, that's great. Let me just welcome some people. Dan came in. Howdy. Dan, Mary has a question I will get to shortly. Hi, Dawn. And Cindy came in with us on screen, and Terry with King George Picker is here also. So welcome everyone. I'm so glad that you all are here, and I look forward to talking with you more. Sheila, what's your question?
So I'm using your sheet, and I'm trying to grab my numbers from January and putting them down to my monthly, but that 5th week in January, is that going to drop into February or?
Oh, I understand what you asked the question over there. Okay.
Uh-oh, where'd she go?
Oh boy.
oh no.
No.
We lost her. We shouldn't be left alone to do this.
I know, right?
Oh my goodness, what did I do?
Good.
I was just saying, you can't leave us alone to do this on our own.
We came here for moral support, please.
Exactly.
Yeah, I don't know what I did. I just moved my mouse over and I was like, wait, where did my people go? All right, let me try this again and open the workbook.
Yeah, because we have that week. Oh, and then another question there. I'm capturing from Sunday to that Saturday for my sales, correct?
All right, just give me just a moment.
Okay.
Because it's easier if we just look at it together. Which would be fine if I could find my
Just
files.
don't leave us go.
Here we go. I moved stuff around. All right. So, present, share screen.
This is good because I messed up the first day. So this will probably correct that. You know, because remember I asked you, was it the week?
Right. Right. Okay. So for everyone that's here, the top section is technically by week. And I use air quotes because it is all based on, it is, what in the world? It is all based on the week ending date for the year. So in this particular case is Sunday. So everything runs Monday through Sunday. And the first of the year was on a Sunday. So the very first set of blocks under column C at the top is for one day. And apparently that threw a bunch of people off. So the date at the top is the week ending date, and we are only tracking the current year on this sheet. So you only want to have January 1st in the first set of blocks. Then we're going to have full weeks, full 7 days until we get to the end of the year. And when we get to the end of the year, there's less than 7 days. If you look, it's also 1 day. So if you look at the very top, let me blow this up a little bit so everybody can see it nice and clearly. This here is the days that are being attributed to for that.
Oh, okay. I see it now. Huh.
So this is the week in the year. So this is the first full week, and so on and so forth. Because if you have ever done manufacturing, we always we're in week 30, we're in week 52. And so it's a old habits die hard. So then that shows you the week, and this is always Sunday. So when you are doing your when you go into eBay and you're looking at your numbers under the performance sales, you're going to pull by that particular week. So in this second block,
the week of the 8th is from the 8th through the 14th then?
No, this would be from the 2nd through the 8th. So this date is the week, is when it ends.
Okay, so from the 2nd through the 8th is the first full week.
Yes. Monday to Sunday. Everything runs Monday to Sunday.
Okay, so my thing is really screwed up then. Okay, so Monday to Sunday.
And we're not that far in, so it's not that screwed up. And this is a tool. So really, if you have done everything the same, it doesn't matter. You're still looking at the same thing across the board, right? You're still comparing the same period of time. So if you did Sunday to Saturday.
Yeah, my first block is from the 1st through the 7th.
Okay.
And my second block is from the 8th through the 14th. That's why when I
if
got to
that's
the
what you
29th.
want to do, if that's what you want to do, that's okay too. Just be consistent across the board, and you'll still have just the full year.
Okay, that's where I was like, wait, does the 29th go into February or does it stay in January? I'm confused.
So just do it. So if you did the first one as well, the problem is that the number up here is not going to divide right, because it needs this up here to, so you just need to change this to a 7 if that's what you're going to do.
Okay, so my first block is from the 2nd to the 8th.
Yeah.
And then just continue
look at
it
a
from
calendar and you look at it, and it goes from Monday to Sunday.
Monday to Sunday. Okay, and then my next question is on my on line 15, where it's a average list per day. On my first one, for some unknown reason, it says average list per day 70, which is not
because you put in everything.
Oh, because that's the one day. Oh, okay. Okay, so you're counting the one day. That's why. I'm like, this is so wrong. Okay. That's why.
And just to be clear, when you get a handle on this weekly thing, eventually you might want to graduate and not do it by week. Maybe you only want to do it the month at a time. So
yeah, I wanted to like really see if what I was processing last year as I was coming into this year was the benefit, was the profit what I was thinking it was after taking into account all the numbers, which I'm pretty much right on target to what I was thinking, about 15 per item, 15, 16.
Good deal.
So I was like, let me make sure, because you guys keep talking about everybody thinks they're making money, but they don't. So I'm like, let me put all the numbers in here to make sure this is the right thing.
We were talking about that last night after text call ended.
Yeah, I know.
Yep.
Okay. All right. So I'll just rearrange my numbers, and then I'll do a couple months of weekly just to make sure I'm on point. And then my next question is the mileage. I have the mileage Mile IQ app. Am I dragging and dropping over here? Or should I just leave it, not even paying attention to this?
All right. So here's the thing about any of the apps, Mile IQ, any of them. For businesses like ours, it makes it very difficult. If you have a client-based business where you're going and visiting particular clients, and so you're driving and you have to attribute mileage to a client or mileage to a specific project, that's different. And Mile IQ is great for that. But when you are doing like we're doing and going to different sources to taking care of different business things, it's the entire round trip. We just need to account for the day while we're out. And if we go 60 miles up the road, and I say that because most of my thrift stores are 60 miles up the road, then if I stop in there if I make a personal stop on my way there or on my way back, I don't have to stop my miles. My miles still count for the entire way there, the entire way to the next place, and the entire way home, even if I make personal stops in between. And Mile IQ, every time you stop the stupid vehicle, it wants you to swipe left or swipe right. And I'm like, look, I'm not dating you. Go away. I don't need all of this. When I get home, I'll tell you I'm home, and then just count the whole thing. But it doesn't let you do that. So
what I've been doing is exactly what you said with the circle that you explained to us before, which was, if you're making stops along the way, as long as you get it all the way to the very end, like the 60 plus miles.
Great.
I just keep swiping right. Right is business. Yeah. So I just keep swiping all business, even if I stopped 10 times, because
Right.
my furthest point is business and then wrapping all the way back.
Right. Right. So if that's was one of my points. I just want to make sure you just keep counting it as business until you get back to the house. Now, granted, if you get way out there and you make like something,
Further
out of the way that's personal and it wouldn't otherwise be part of your trip, you shouldn't be counting that.
Right.
But if it's more, whether it's a circle or linear, so long as the furthest point away is business, you can count all of that.
Okay. So that's what I've been doing. I just keep swiping, because as long as my furthest point is business, then everything else just gets wrapped into it.
Now, it's been a long time since I used MileIQ, so are you able to, I know you can download the report, but are you able to say, okay, Goodwill, Salvation Army, yada, yada, Staples, whatever. Because if you look at the screen that I have up right now, we need to show total miles, and we need to show like where we went, like here I've got post office, Goodwill, Salvation Army, Unique. Those are all thrift stores here. So we just need to be able to do that. So if you can do that within MileIQ, great. If not, I don't know whether you might want to not spend the money on MileIQ and then just plug the numbers in here. Whatever works for you and whatever you're consistent with, that's my goal.
Yeah, that's why I did the MileIQ, because I have some notes on my phone, some notes written somewhere that I don't even know where they're at anymore, some on the computer. I was just like, this is not working. Okay, so yeah, it says business and then it says add notes.
Okay.
So I guess I should be able to
then just I think you can download that monthly, right?
Yes.
All right, so now that we're in the 1st of February, just go back and download for January and make sure that it doesn't have to look exactly like this, but just make sure that that all your information is there. And then what you can do is you can take your total miles for the month of January and just go down to 131 and put the total miles in. So say it was 500, and then MileIQ, IQ, not IG, MileIQ. And then that way, when you get to the total snapshot page, it will calculate your mileage. Your mileage will be in here and calculating.
Okay, so I should be writing a note for all the trips that I'm taking on there. Enter my MileIQ info.
While we're on this topic, I'm gonna throw this up right quick. Reseller relaxation. I'm not sure if that's an oxymoron or not. Has asked a question: if they drop off at a post office 20 miles away, can they use that as a business trip? All right, so you don't need to get a receipt from the post office in order to claim those miles. Okay. Just if that post office is where you drop your stuff off at, then you just put in your 20 miles for your post office and move on.
So I don't have to scan these in, and I don't have to scan these in then? I just have to
The
Just
post office ones?
yeah, these are my
Oh,
post office ones.
absolutely not.
Okay. All right. I didn't know if I would have to prove those miles with receipts or
Not the post office ones.
okay.
Because we ship daily.
Right.
Mhm.
Our proof that we are shipping is in our platform.
Okay.
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 It's in our labels. It's in the we purchased the label. We have plenty of proof that we have been shipping.
Okay.
So,
And I do remember the other question. I had two questions to ask you.
Okay.
Um,
Sheila, are you good? Are we
yep,
done with
I'm good.
mileage? Okay.
Yeah, I'll just start moving all over the numbers and stuff like that. I'm trying to make sure that I set the template correct in order to get the right stuff out. Thank you.
Okay. Great. All right, Patty.
okay. So last year's cost of goods, does that factor into anything for this year? I have like probably close to 1,500 pieces from last year of clothing that were not listed that I'm still working on because of the move. My move just messed me up for like 2 months.
Right.
So
So no, you don't count any of that
okay.
this year.
Okay.
All of that should be counted in your expenses for last year.
It was.
Okay.
It was.
So once it gets written off, which that's what once it's once it's put into your expenses into the worksheet to write off on your taxes, then that's a done deal. And anything that you make on those items this year is profit.
Okay. Okay. And then one last thing. I have list perfectly. Where do I put that expense?
So that would be the same as Posture VA. So if
Under
you use
advertising?
list perfectly, you could either put it in advertising, or you could put it into cost of goods other. Now, I would lean towards cost of goods other.
That's what I
because,
did.
again, it's something that you're using to get your product in front of people and from you to the customer.
Right. Thank you.
You're welcome. So we have a question in the chat. Big Delta guy says, at least for me, the eBay 1099 was gross sales. Do I need to itemize all the fees, sales tax collected, etc. for my taxes, or can I just lump all fees, sales tax into one category? Absolutely lump it. When you go to for eBay, you go to performance sales tab and you run for the month. Hopefully you do this monthly, but I always double check it at the end of the year and make sure that my calculation for the month is still adding up correctly, because things net, and for whatever reason, it occasionally will change. It shouldn't. Once you get to the end of the month, it should never change, but I don't know who's doing their accounting. Whoever they've got in there, there's some funky stuff going on in the background that I don't know. I'm not privy to. But all of the fees, when it says gross sales tax collected, seller fees, all of those fees, that includes your store subscription, that includes your shipping labels, that includes your promoteds, that nets refunds, returns. So all of that is in that number, and there's absolutely no reason to break it out. You just put it all into cost of goods, other costs, and then eBay fees, Mercari fees, Poshmark fees, whichever platform you're using. But you want to do that for any platform that you're using. So MTAF says, when is the Poshmark spreadsheet will be ready? It's ready. You can download that anytime. I mean, any day, any month. You can
Yeah,
always,
I downloaded mine today for January, and it was there.
yeah.
I mean, yeah.
So Big Delta Guy says my performance sales tab for total sales is way off from my 1099 gross sales. Yes, it is way off, and it's gonna be way off. I have audited, well, to the best of my ability, I have audited, but I can't quite get all of it. What I can tell you is one, sales tax is not included in the 1099. The sales tax that they collect is not included in the 1099. So that's one of the reasons why I say use the gross number in the workbook to track what your sales are through the year. And then if you are paying quarterly taxes based on that number, it gives you a bigger cushion to get to the end of the year. And then when it comes time to actually do your taxes, then you use the 1099, which is typically several $1,000s lower than what you've been tracking all year. Does that help, Big Delta Guy? All right. Hi, Cindy. Oops, I think I tried to unmute you when you went to unmute yourself.
Hi. Okay, so I put in the stuff that I sourced because I hadn't sourced since like October, but I don't understand how to get, there's a thing that says move line something over. Let me go back to it. I just finished getting my receipts all in there. So I put in all the numbers on the expense page, like, where I went. I got the dates in, I got the items bought, the vendor, the amount, the cost of the inventory. It did the cost per piece. But then it says must enter the cost per piece. What happened?
I just added Dawn, and she's got both.
Okay.
She has both YouTube and this open, so
I thought I had hit something. But then it says must enter the blue columns, right click inside pivot table and click refresh to update. Blank has to be there, just ignore it. I don't understand that.
Okay.
So I want to go back and look at you. Look, sorry.
Whatever it is, I don't want to do it.
I set it for noon but I was on the wrong time zone.
Oh. Okay, so here's your pivot table, or let's go back to expenses. So if I go in here and we're just going to pick a few things and throw in some amounts, right?
Okay.
Just because I want you to see. All right. So we've got a few things. Oh, by the way, if you see this, then go up here so that does everybody see that my cursor has changed to like these two little arrow thingies? So if this is for people that aren't really good with Excel.
That's me.
Okay, so I don't know. Let me make this a little bigger. All right. So there. Can you guys see that?
Yeah.
And when it's like this, you can slide it,
Oh, okay.
or
Okay.
you can double click it. And if you double click it, it automatically expands to fit the amount. So it's not supposed to be number signs up there. You're supposed to see an actual number. All right. So once you've entered some of these items and you go over to, get this out of my way, you go over to the total snapshots page. And this is in regards to what Cindy was just talking about. So you click anywhere inside of this box. You right click and you click refresh. Does everybody see this? Refresh.
Okay.
So right click. I'm trying to look at the screen and do the stuff over here. So right click inside the box, click refresh, and then all of your stuff comes over. Everything gets totaled together in a nice, pretty little box. And then this total gets put down here in the green box. If you have meals, want to be sure that everybody understands this. If you have meals, this year we went back to 50%. Put the whole amount. So if you went and you had a meal and it was $100, you put $100 in. This will calculate the 50% for you. That's what this little thing is over here. So if I go back over here and I pick meals, travel meals, and we put $100 in, we come back over here to the total snapshots page. We're going to refresh again. Up here, it's going to show the $100, but this should have automatically refreshed. If it doesn't, then you're going to have to refresh the one down at the bottom too.
That's what I had to do.
Technology just really ticks me off. But make sure both of these are refreshed, and then it will calculate in here that it's half of. So it's basically what it's doing is it's deducting
The 50%.
within the green box. There was no good way to do it and to keep it user friendly. So that was my workaround. So this green box, this is your lifeline to your business. If you're using this workbook, this is your profit and loss. This is showing how much money that you've brought in and how much money that you have going out, including your mileage. So you're getting to count your mileage all year. So including your mileage, and it's showing you your net, it all the points. Now, maybe I'm getting off on a tangent here, but I want everybody to remember that when you work for a business, they pay you an hourly amount. They take taxes out on that hourly amount. And then you go home and you have to pay your bills. You also had to pay your gas to get back and forth. You don't get mileage for any of that. All of your electric, all of your water, all of your everything. Even if you work from home for that company, you can't even take a home office deduction. So, because they did away with that. So, having a business, if you see this number, this net is in the negative, or don't feel like you're not making money if you have entered all of your stuff. Okay? Because what you're doing is you are transferring a lot of those expenses that you would have had to pay after tax to before tax. Okay? So even, and I'm saying this because if there's anyone watching that is working for an employer and has it in their head that maybe someday I would like to have a little business on the side, reach out to me. Let's see what we can do to get you started now in doing something that you enjoy doing that you could turn into a business over the next year, right? If it's a hobby, any income that you have that comes in, you can deduct your expenses against so that you break even, right? So even if it's a hobby, there's rules for that. But everyone should have at least a side hustle going as a business for, to counteract some of the expenses that they have to pay by going and getting a regular W-2 job. I quit spelling it out because I didn't mean for anybody to think it was a dirty word. It's not a dirty word. I don't think of a job as a dirty word. Some people just like to work for someone else. Okay, I'm fine with that. But if I can encourage you to do a business, even a small one, I would like to do that. All right. So I'm sorry. Get off my soapbox.
The other question I had is with the vehicle, should I keep the receipts for the gas?
No.
No. It doesn't matter.
Either you take all of your expenses for the vehicle and you track all of your expenses for the vehicle, and you track all of your mileage. You have to track both in order to use vehicle expenses. So if you want to take actual expense, you track all of your actual expense and you track all of your mileage, and then you get the percentage of vehicle expense that you used for business.
I thought with the truck I didn't have to keep the miles because all the miles were for business.
You still have to keep all the miles. You always have to keep all the miles. No matter what you do, you have to keep all the miles.
Oh, I thought with the truck I didn't have to, since the truck was in the business name.
You bought it with I can't remember all the conversations.
Yeah, the truck on the 31st of December, I put in the business name.
Okay.
So I could get the Section 179 deduction.
Look at you listening to me.
Yeah, I did it. I did it the last day that the DMV was open.
Okay, so
that
the business now owns the truck.
Yes.
All right. Well, then you keep all of the business expense. All of the truck expenses, all of them.
So that's the gas, but I don't have
to back to getting the gas receipts. Yes.
Okay, but I don't have to keep the miles on that
because the business owns it.
Yeah. If I took the Nissan the business doesn't own, then I'd have to keep the miles on that.
Correct statement.
Okay. Because my husband
if you drive that truck, it's supposed to be for business.
Right. But I can drive. Okay. Like, for example, I had to take my sister to the doctor. I drove the truck, but I also used it for business.
So
Which was
long as you
farther.
follow the business, the mileage rule that I set out for business, and if you didn't, then I don't want to hear about it.
Yeah. No, I did.
Okay, then you're fine.
Yeah.
If
Okay.
you do drive the other vehicle at all for business, then track
Keep
that.
in mind.
Yep.
Okay. Okie doke. I think that's it for right now.
Okay.
But I need to make an appointment with you.
Oh, Cindy, guess what came on my front step today?
Oh, did you get a box?
I got a box.
Good.
So I haven't had a chance to open it because I had just pulled it off my porch right before this started. So that was actually part of the
Well,
reason why I was a little bit late.
I forgot that little box. I forgot to put that in, but I'll have another one for you, I'm sure.
That's fine. Or I can send you a label for a bag for that one. But thank you very much. And I am super excited to open it later today.
Okay, good.
All right. Let's go back over here to the chat and catch up. So reseller relaxation. Oh, that's Raphael. Now I get it. Raphael. Okay, yes. Or you do have reseller relaxation. I take it back. It's not an oxymoron. It's actually hyphenated. You've got the reseller and the relaxation, and he's a great guy. So if you haven't had a chance to sit down and have a chat with Raphael, then do so. Totally worth every second of your time. So he says, follow up for post office. My daily post office drop is 3 miles. When I pick up my daughter 30 miles away, I drop off at a different PO. In this case, should I get a receipt or my word is my bond? So when it's a post office, it's your word, right? You have to be careful. I mean, if that's what you're doing is the post office over there, okay. But when consistently you have 3 mile, 3 mile, 3 mile for post office, and then you have 30 mile for post office, it could, if they decided to look, because they're not looking, right? They're looking at the total. But if they decided to audit you and ask for those records, then they would see that some days are 30 miles to the post office. And while it is a negligible amount, if they're already in there, then they're going to be saying, why did you go over here on some days? So just be mindful of that. And if there's anywhere else that you can go that's also business related that's over there, then consider doing that maybe instead of the post office. Let's see. Okay, I have a couple of questions that were sent to me privately. So I want everyone to understand that if you have a LLC, there is yearly filing fees that you have to pay. There is returns that you have to do for the LLC, and then everything else runs into a Schedule C and your 1040. But there are requirements for the LLC itself. So if you have an LLC, if nobody has explained to you what those things are, reach out to me so that we can get you caught up and on the right page across the board. But this is one of the reasons why I don't recommend starting an LLC, LLC S Corp. I don't recommend starting anything above a sole prop until your business can absorb the extra fees that's going to be created by starting an LLC or an LLC S Corp. An LLC is going to be several $100s a year just to have it, because you're going to have fees that you have to pay to the state every year. Depending on whether you are in the same state or not, you might have to pay a fee to somebody else. There is the forms that you have to file, and if you can't do them yourself, you're going to have to pay someone else to do them. So if you're listening and you are thinking about doing an LLC or an LLC S Corp, reach out. Let's have that conversation before you do it. If you've already done it and you've never filed under it, then consider putting it on the back burner and letting it close, or calling and closing it. If you want to keep it open, then just remember that there's a number of expenses that are going to come with having it. And then regarding, somebody asked me if there was a different workbook for Poshmark. So I have been working on a tracking sheet that is similar to this one. This one is set up just for eBay. I've been working on one that can track all of your platforms. So if you are across multiple platforms, then it's very similar to this, except it has the different sections for each platform. And you can type in whichever platform. I pre-filled some, but I mean, I don't know them all. So I pre-filled some and left a few blank. And then you can fill in whatever ones you need. If you, I haven't posted that yet to the Gumroad page. It would be in addition to the regular workbook. The first 10 people that reach out to me that would like to have it, I will give it to you. All right. I see Rachel, Patty, Dawn. Do me a favor, shoot me a Facebook message right quick. I will write you guys' names down. So anyway, the first 10 people, Rachel, Patty, Dawn. And then all I ask is that you give me some feedback on what you see, what you like, what you don't like, so that I can make some changes to it and make it great for everybody to use. And then I will put it up for so that it's for sale.
I have a question.
Okay. I'm not sure who's talking.
No, I have a question.
Oh, Patty, hi.
Yeah, hi, it's me.
Yeah.
On the eBay number tracking, that screen you have right there.
Uh-huh.
Okay. If you scroll down to where the sold promoted, sales promoted, average ad rate, and ad fees, w- I see the link and I pulled the link up, but I'm still not sure what to put, like sold promoted. What number do I use? I'm lost.
Okay, so give me a second. Let me stop sharing my here. Yeah, let me stop sharing my screen because I don't want, it's one thing when I share my sales within the group. It's a whole different story when I share them on YouTube.
Right.
I don't know if any of you guys follow Texas Gal Treasures.
I used to.
But she just had a video that she had to put out because someone was saying that's not a full-time income. Well, everybody's got different bills. You don't know what my bills are.
Right.
So do I make a whole lot of money on eBay? No, I don't make a whole lot of money on eBay. Does it pay all of my bills? Yeah, it pays all of my bills. So that's really all that matters. Is it a full-time income? Absolutely not, because I don't work at full-time. I don't ever plan to work at full-time.
That really varies too, depending on where you live, because
absolutely,
if you made if you made what I made and paid your bills wherever you are, because I live in LA, you'll be rolling in it.
You got that
I'm
right.
over here like barely getting by.
Yeah, and
yeah, it's crazy.
That's gonna kind of be the same thing when you look at, like, most of you see my store anyway because we're in the group together with Tech and Chris. So when we do the calls, I readily share that within the group. But I don't mind so much within the group. And am I trying to be transparent on YouTube to all of you? Sure I am. And I'll get there and I'll probably share at some point, but for now we're
But does it matter? Because your numbers don't have anything to do with my numbers or Cindy's numbers or Patty's.
You're right.
You know?
Right. They don't. And what I sell and what you sell are completely different things.
I think that's a comparison problem, because everybody wants to compare. And it's like, comparing only works if you're in the exact same situation. Like, you live in the same place, you have the exact same expenses, you have access to the same inventory, you buy otherwise it's completely irrelevant. So it doesn't
I'm just
matter.
going to tag this particular part. So this is 1 hour and 9 minutes in to this particular call. And I'm going to tag that part so that any negative comments I get about this, I'm just going to say, go listen to Rachel.
There you go.
1 minute, 9.
I mean, because you want to have something as a frame of reference, right? Like, how do I know I'm doing it right? How do I know I'm being successful? And so, like, your first inclination, and of course, I'm only speaking for
is to compare yourself to somebody else.
Exactly. So, it's like, well, that's what other metric do I have? And I think that, like, from a positivity standpoint, I think once you let that go and you realize that the only person you should ever be comparing yourself to is you, it becomes there's a lot less pressure. There's a lot more, I think it gives you the ability to be more, mindful and okay, so this is what I did last month. I want to do better than that. Not this is what Cheryl did last month. I want to do better than that. Like, what Cheryl did last month is nothing.
This is what Cheryl did last month, and Cheryl wants to do better.
And I know people want to commiserate and they want they want validation. So sometimes they kvetch because they think if they kvetch, then other people will kvetch with them and they'll feel better. But it's all totally irrelevant. It doesn't matter. None of it. It's like,
you're right.
My journey is my journey and your journey is your journey, and they will never, ever be the same.
And And I want to piggyback on that right quick. So just like everything that Rachel just said, our deductions are the same way. So an ordinary and necessary expense for me is not necessarily an ordinary and necessary expense for Rachel, and so on with Patty and Dawn and Cindy and Raphael and Dan and everybody else that's watching. We are all in a reselling business, but that doesn't mean that we all have the same deductions, or that a deduction that I qualify for would mean that you would automatically qualify for it. Let's just take a manicure as an example. I can't take a manicure as a deduction because my hands are never in the photos,
Mine are.
right?
You can deduct your manicures.
I
can
didn't
deduct
know
your
that.
You can deduct your manicures.
I don't get them because I didn't know.
And once I get back into doing lives and I'm doing more like the lives with the jewelry and stuff, okay, maybe then I start. I'm just not going to do the manicures. I'll go for a pedicure 10 days a week.
No, you ain't
Yes,
touching my
I said that on purpose because, and if I can figure out how to work a massage into this deal, I will let you know.
Right.
Because whatever I figure out that makes it an ordinary and necessary expense for me, I'll let you know so you can add that into your process. But, or if you have a reason, let me know so we can work that into and make it an ordinary and necessary expense.
Well, what about like I have horrible chronic back pain and sometimes I can't function. Could I get massages and deduct them?
So if it's all about, and I want to do a completely separate call on this, but it's all about, remember most of us back in school in English class, and they tell you to write a story, and in order to write this story, you have to answer the who, the what, the where, the when, and the why. The same holds true. If you can answer those 5 things and have the ending be in the pursuit of income for your business, then you can take it as an expense. Write your story. So, for example, the sweater I have on, right? If I decided that it was going to be part of my branding and I was going to always wear it in my videos, and you were going to know when you saw me out in public, hey, that's Cheryl because that's that sweater she always wears, then I could have written it off as an expense. If I had a particular hairstyle, or, maybe we go with the hair color, then maybe I could go and, get my, have my hairdresser paid for.
Well, if
Which
you're doing
obviously I
lives,
don't have
you're
one of
doing
those.
lives, right? Couldn't you? I mean, if you're not with just your
Yeah.
hands, like if you were doing, right?
Right. I mean, it's just one of those things. You just have to tell your story, and you have to answer all the questions, and the end of the story has to be in the pursuit of business income, or in the pursuit of income for my business. It's all about me making money. Right? So, I'll go back to, the whole thing with the taxes is when you sit down or you talk to your tax preparer, you are the one with all of the power. I can only ask so many questions in order to dig out all of the things that I think you may be eligible for. But I don't know your process. So as you're going through your processes, your day to day, if there's something that you do and you're questioning it, make a note. Reach out, ask me about it. I'm fine with that, because the more things that I hear you guys ask me about that maybe I never thought of, the more I can maybe help somebody else come up with those too, and we can all save the money. We can all keep it in our pocket.
Here's an interesting one.
Okay.
I use distilled water in my steamer when I steam.
That's actually a
deductions.
requirement per the instructions on the. Yep.
So I save every time I buy distilled water, I save all my receipts.
Yes, that is a legitimate business expense. Absolutely. Now, can I buy a still to distill my own water to use in my steamer?
Well, yes and no. Have you ever looked at how long those things take to work? I actually looked into buying one because I use a lot of distilled water also in my personal life. And I'm like, it's all fine and good, but it takes like 4 days to make 1 gallon. I'm like, yeah, I think that's too long.
Uh-huh. Sure. Okay. Maybe it's too long. Maybe it has multiple uses after you've made that 1 gallon of water that you can kind of,
I see what you're saying.
Maybe you use it for a while and you find out that this just takes too long to do for water. So I'm not going to use it in my business anymore. But it's already written off at that point. We all buy things that we try in our business. How many backgrounds did I buy for my photo setup? I don't even want to talk about how many backgrounds that I have possibly purchased for my photo setup. And I have a whole tote full of them sitting in my inventory room because I don't use any of them anymore. So things like that. I bought, back when I first got started, I bought this camera. It got written off when I bought it. It will be staying around here as the backup, but I just bought a super nice Logitech as my new camera because I was getting on here more often, and that one was like overheating and flickering and stuff like that. So now I have a new expense of a camera, microphone, things like that. If you brought it into your business, you already owned it and you brought it into your business, you can write it off. All right, so let's get back to the question at hand. Sorry, I get off on these tangents.
I think I figured it out while you were talking.
Okay, so for those that haven't figured it out, what we are talking about is the promotions, and it's part of this section. So when it says sold, promoted, sales, promoted, and then the ad fees. So you're going to go over here and how many sold. Well, hi, nice to see you too. So in that period of time, I sold 17 that were promoted. The sales was this number, and the ad fees is this number. And then it's going to tell me what my average sold ad rate is. And because I changed over to a flat ad rate, I'm looking at this going, okay, some things didn't change over. So I know that I need to go in and fix some things. But if you don't use a flat ad rate, that's when you want to use this section at the bottom. If you use a flat ad rate, this section doesn't matter to you.
When you say flat ad rate, what do you mean? Like just putting it across the board at like 9% or 8% or okay.
Right. So if you're using a flat ad rate, it's like every month I'm only promoting at 2%, then, oh, would you look at that? It didn't change. I thought when I changed my screen, it was changing back and forth, but apparently it wasn't. So if you are putting in a flat ad rate, you're saying that all of my items I promote at 5%, then you don't need to use that little section. But if you promote all your items at recommended, then you might want to look at that and keep track of what you're doing, month over month over month. And the reason that I have this section here is, yes, you can get all the information from eBay, but you can't see January to February to March and then the whole year in one screen on eBay. That's why I have this there, so that you can see, okay, in January, I was promoting at the recommended plus 1%. That ended up averaging out to be 5%. I did the same thing in February, but that ended up averaging out to 4%. In March, it ended up averaging out to 10%.
Wow.
I'm
Yeah.
just saying,
So then those ad fees go into the expense sheet under cost of goods other?
Okay, so if you go to your performance sales tab, where it says gross eBay collected sales tax, seller fees.
Wait a minute. I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay.
I got expenses, mileage, total snapshot, and eBay number tracking.
Okay, I'm talking about on eBay.
Oh, on eBay. Okay.
Performance sales.
Okay.
And here. I'm going to do this for today. Present window. Oh, here. I figured it out. Now it'll switch back and forth. So this is the screen that I'm talking about. Performance sales. So on the left-hand side, you've got your total sales.
Mm-hmm.
Then the eBay collected, the taxes and fees collected by eBay. Mm-hmm. That's none of our business.
Mm-hmm.
Then the selling costs. This selling costs number, this is what I want you to pull every month for the previous month and then put into expenses as cost of goods, other costs, eBay fees.
Okay. Got ya. That's what I did.
Okay, good. Perfect. Okay. Yep. So like here we're at the first day of the next month. We can go back and get all of our fees for January and plug them in. And maybe you make a little note that says, all right, when I do my bookkeeping, I need to go get my eBay fees. I need to go get everything that I spent on Amazon. I need to go get everything that I spent on eBay. If you're not printing those receipts as you make the purchases, then make yourself a process for your bookkeeping so that you know and you remember to go back and get these things the first of the month for the previous month. The home office calculator, get this thing out of my way. The home office calculator, that for your electric, your water, your gas, your trash, home mortgage interest if you own your home, rent if you don't, homeowner's insurance or renter's insurance, any repairs or maintenance that you did to the house. You can track all of these things here. Those are not going to go into your expenses during the year. I don't want you to put those things into your expenses during the year. I want you to track them here so that when it comes time to do your taxes, your preparer has the easy option of deciding what's best for your situation, whether it is taking the short form deduction or the long form deduction for home office. So if you have all of your information here, you can make that adjustment at the time that your taxes get done. Now, your cell phone bill, put that into your expenses every month. Your internet bill, put that into your expenses every month. Because we can't run our business without either one of them. The fact that we can use that multiple people can get on the internet doesn't matter. I mean, Tech has the internet that he doesn't let anybody else get on. So he pays, for that just for himself. So same thing here. Internet we must have. Phone, I mean, I don't know about y'all, but I really don't talk on the phone. But I do use it for my business all the time. I just ask my husband. He's constantly hollering at me about get off the phone. Be in the moment. What? I am in the moment. I am momentarily having another sale. So keep track of these things. They don't go into your expenses, into your business expenses monthly, but they need to go into this monthly so that we have them at the end of the year. But your other things that, look through here's an easy way. If you're using the workbook, an easy way to look at all the different categories is over here under yearly changes. Here's all your categories. This is the Schedule C in a nutshell.
Oh, okay.
So look at these things. If something doesn't make sense and you're in the group, then you can go into the files and look for the Schedule C definitions that I put in there. I also have the Schedule C definitions that should have gotten sent or available to you with an email when you purchase the workbook. So there's those definitions. And if you need further explanation, then reach out to me. I will make sure that you understand what any particular category means. All right, let me get back over here to the chat. Let's see. So I answered Big Delta Guy about lumping those fees together. Answered that one. Okay, Big Delta Guy, I don't know if you are still here or not. I hope you're still here. And you asked, I have QuickBooks, so can I just take my net deposits from that and subtract the $10.99 amount to get the total selling fees? No. Oh. QuickBooks, and this is my issue for QuickBooks. You never want to use those net payments. You don't want those net payments in there at all. So I'm not the QuickBooks guru. My partner Kim is the QuickBooks guru. So if you need help with QuickBooks and making those adjustments, you can, hang on. You can shoot her or shoot us an email at info@sabaservices.net. That's simplified and balanced accounting services. So if you shoot us an email there, that will help. She can get you help for QuickBooks if you need help for QuickBooks. All right, let's see. So Alyssa says that's for personal meals, right? If you buy a supplier dinner, where does it go? That's all of the meals go in the same place. Where it says travel meals, all of them go in the same place. So if you sit down with a business partner, and I mean that could be anybody, like if you have somebody that you traditionally use as a sounding board to ask questions to, and you take them out to eat and you talk about business, then save that receipt, flip it over, put their name down, and just jot a quick note about what you talked about. Doesn't have to be detailed. Just say, like whatever. Talked about inventory, talked about accounting, talked about whatever. Just a quick note to say what it was, and then put that in. You get 50%. Last 2 years, we got 100%, and we all got nice and spoiled. And here it is, 2023, and they took 50% back. So apparently the restaurants aren't having the problems that they were having. I disagree because my oldest daughter is she's wait staff. So I don't know what the proper term is. Excuse me. Carl is here. Carl's Collectibles, or at least he was. I don't know if he's still here or not. Carl, are you still here? It says you have 2 questions. M. Teff says, I'm first. I wrote your name down. I'm guessing that you're talking about the worksheet, first 10 people. Dan has sent me a message for it. He also says he has a sugar mama or he wouldn't be full-time. All right, so MTF says, how about if you have family members on your phone plan? I have family members on the phone plan. So what I do is I have divided that phone plan, like all of the different aspects of the phone plan, I've divided up per person. So you know how some of it, you like say you pay $50 a month, for service that gets divided between the phones, just as a number. Okay, so if you've got 5 phones on there, then each phone gets attributed 10%. I mean, $10 of that. Then once you get that all divided up, your portion is completely deductible. The rest of it doesn't matter. Hold on just a minute and I will I think that worked. There's the link that you can come on. Oh, I could just remove it and add it back. I don't have to. Oh my goodness, I'm learning something new every day. Okay, so I caught up in the chat. Carl may be coming on. Got a couple private messages. eBay net. So over here where it says eBay net, that is this number. That's the only time that we use this net sales number. eBay store costs are included in the selling costs through eBay. So you don't need to add those separately. If you get this total selling cost number for each month, then your store subscription fee, your promotion, your shipping labels, all of the stuff is all in this selling cost number. All right.
So does your cell phone bill go under utilities, or does it go under the phone on that home office calculator?
Your cell phone will go under utilities and in expenses.
Okay.
That's the one thing that I don't put in that's one thing that I don't put in the home office calculator. That and your internet does not go in the home office calculator.
Okay.
So I am limited to 6 people on screen at one time. I have more than that that's in the waiting room. So if I need to, like, they're not on screen, so I'm not going to bring them on.
You can move me if you want my spot.
Oh, we're good. We're good. They actually left.
I can go. I was gonna go see.
No, I don't need it. I don't have any spots. I don't need it. I don't need any spots. Everybody stay put. Unless you want to leave, you're welcome to leave.
How do I know about the cost of goods in that on that chart?
Okay. Let's go back over to
Sorry.
All right. So if you are using this particular sheet, that's how you figure out what your average cost of goods is.
Okay, so is that the sheet? Is that similar to the one that Chris had, the line by line one?
No, because what you're doing here is like I have these. So say on January 1st.
Oh yeah. Okay, yeah, I have that.
And we bought clothes.
Oh, did I right clicked and I couldn't get a thing that said refresh. I right clicked
over here.
Yeah, it didn't say refresh. Are you on a Mac?
No, I'm not on a Mac. If you are opening it in numbers, then that's the problem. It won't work in numbers.
I don't understand.
Are you opening this in numbers, or are you opening this on a Mac in Excel?
On a Mac in Excel.
Okay, then it won't be a problem.
Let me try it again.
Because this one works the same way as the other one does. However, I don't like this one. So,
Cindy, it might depend on where your right click is set up on your mouse pad, because on Mac you can adjust that. So
I have an actual mouse.
Oh, with the right click button. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's other ways of doing it, but let me address something first.
Okay.
I did this pivot table to hopefully make things easier, and I literally entered my own items into the same thing for my spreadsheet for January And it's doing a weighted average, and I can't make it just do a straight average. I don't like that it's doing a weighted average. So this is going to be fixed at some point. This is going to be changed at some point, but for right now, I don't like it. So I would suggest that you can use it for the totals. So you can use it to get the total number of items purchased and the total inventory, but do your own calculation of 462 divided by 90. Well, do it on a calculator to get your average, because it's not working the way that I want it to work.
Okay.
It's not doing a straight average. So, for example, I made a bunch of purchases in the month of January, and it was telling me I had a much higher average cost of goods than what I actually had, because it was weighting based on, one purchase at a much larger amount versus one purchase, a multiple purchase at a much smaller amount. And it was like, yeah, no, this is not how I want this to work. It just needs to be, this is the total number of items I purchased, this is the total number of items I spent, and this is the amount. So sometimes, like now, it looks better than what it actually is, and then sometimes it'll look worse than what it actually is. So we just don't want to use that column over there. For now, I'll fix it. I'll find a way. I'll fix it. But for now, so you put in your total number of pieces you purchased. You put in the total amount that you spent, and it will give you the average cost per piece. Again, let this thing total and refresh. If it's not working for you, reach out and we will figure out what the problem is. But it should be it should allow you to refresh, because you were able to refresh on this tab, right?
Let me see where you're at.
Total snapshot.
Where did you refresh on there? I didn't do anything on there yet.
Okay, well, we will.
Gotten that far yet.
Okay, well, once you have expenses, then
I just put in my store receipts, and I'm putting in the each week right now. I had put in the weeks, but I had done them from Sunday through Saturday. So I went back and I'm doing them Monday through Sunday. Right?
Okay.
Yeah.
So do you have any expenses in yet?
I have in all my receipts from purchasing items.
You've put those into the expense tab?
Yes.
Okay. Then here, I want you to try it this way. When you click inside of this box, somewhere here, it brings up these extra two little menus at the top. Do you see that?
Okay, which box did you click on?
This,
okay. When you click on there, yeah.
You see one that says pivot table, analyze, and design.
Okay.
So if you click on pivot table, analyze.
Okay.
And then just below, there's a refresh.
Okay, let me try and find that one.
Dawn, we're not being, we're missing all the, or we're not making all the shenanigans in Michelle's clothing call right now.
I know, she must miss us. Must be boring over there right now. I'm sure there's others to fill in our spots, though.
I don't know. Dan was here too.
Oh, was he?
It's like all of us troublemakers are over here.
Well, I have
I
to
don't
figure
know
out
where
what-
my
that's my
things
biggest
went.
issue.
Is there another place I could have added them? Because they're not here. I only see your sample one.
Did you add them?
Yeah, I had them all in here.
All right. Only thing that I can say to do is, if you email me, we can try and
Okay.
fix it
Okay.
off
I
of the
will.
call. So
Yeah, I will.
okay. I am getting busy, and I mean like good busy. So if anybody needs to make an appointment,
I need
or
to make an
needs
appointment.
consult time, or
I need to
needs
make an
me to do
appointment, too.
taxes or anything like that,
I
then
think I'm going to need to make a standing appointment.
I think I'm with you, Cindy.
And put you on retainer.
hey, I can live with that.
So, but I don't know. Do you want to message me, or like what? I don't know what days you're available and what times. I know you get up early, right?
Actually, I'm not getting up early these days because my husband is working nights. So that's why I
Okay.
have my bags under my
I
eyes.
was wondering because you were up last night.
I
Before
know.
you weren't up late, so. But
Yeah,
let
my
me
husband
know.
is working nights, and therefore I have nobody to tell me it's time to go to bed, because I am a 2-year-old that needs to be told when to go to bed.
Okay.
Otherwise, I
Me
am up till 2:00 in the morning, and my husband's texting me going, "Why are you still up? I would not be up if I was not working nights." And I was like, "But that's you, and I don't want to go to bed at 8:00. I only go to bed at 8:00 because you go to bed at 8:00."
Could
So
you like?
I get up so early in the morning, and then I'm not awake until noon anyway.
Could
Even
you
when I go to bed
like?
at 8.
Could you message me some time slots that you're available?
Do you have my link? Here, my link is in the chat, and my Calendly is in that. I'm gonna have another, a different one that's I'm working on, that should be easier than Calendly, but I just haven't put it together yet. So anyway, I have time slots available in there under Calendly. Just do that, or shoot me if it's something that is not available there, shoot me a message and we can work it out.
I don't see
Carl,
it in there.
Cindy, you can always just shoot me a message, a Facebook message, and I'll get you the link directly.
Okay, thank you.
No problem. Carl, hi.
Hey, I'm sorry. I couldn't figure this out. I
You did
didn't know
figure it
that you were in the steamboat or the steam yard or whatever. Probably out on the Chesapeake Bay right now, huh?
It's not far from the house.
No, I know it's not. Quick question. Number one, I need the 2023 sheet. So how do I get that?
Okay. So did you ever download it from Gumroad?
No, I have the 2022 sheet that I'm working on right now.
Right.
but I'd like the 2023 sheet so I can at least get my mileage in and January stuff.
So what you need to do, I'm gonna put it over in the chat. You've already gotten the workbook through Gumroad, right? The 2022 version. So if you go to gumroad.com,
Okay.
and you put in your email address,
Okay.
if you don't remember a password, then just do forgot password, because maybe you didn't make an account when you went before. So if you didn't make an account before, then put your email in, put forgot password, and it will make you an account as you add a password, as you get a new password.
Okay.
Then let me see how I can do this without. Okay. Now I can share my screen and not reveal anybody's information. All right. So when you are in your Gumroad account, if you scroll down here to library.
Hold on. I'm heading there right now.
Okay. So I'm just going to talk about it for a second. If you scroll down and you go to library, then any of the purchases that you have made under that email will be in your library. You won't see previous versions of this file. You will only see the latest version of this file.
Okay.
So when you go to the library, now it says Simplified Accounting Workbook Reseller Edition 2023. Because I'm not a customer for myself under this email, I can't click on it
I
and show
understand.
you how it works.
I'll figure that part out.
But you're not the only one with the question, so I'm just trying to make sure that it is in here, and then hopefully later on I can figure out how to cut this little piece of the video out and share it. That library, there's the library. And if you don't have, here's the other issue. If you don't have the page fully opened, you can't see the stupid menu on the left-hand side. Like, it goes to a mobile look. So you have to have the the web page open completely.
Okay, so one question I have about automobiles.
Sure.
So we own 2 cars.
Mhm.
Every once in a while, the easiest one to go to the post office is sitting out front. I hop in that. Why does it matter which car I'm using in my records? It's all the same mileage. It's all the same number.
Because the IRS wants to know if you are like, if you were trying to take some other deduction, then it would matter, right? The IRS also wants to know what your odometer readings are, and they want everything to be written. So if you got rid of one of those cars, then that mileage for that car would stop on that one, and mileage would go to a different car.
Oh, okay.
In the workbook, there is a slot for 4 different vehicles, and it was originally done that way because I have a client that had 3 vehicles and they had the same thing. whichever car was at the end, that's the one that they would hop in and drive. I personally don't understand that, because, but that's just me.
All right. I understand that.
Or if you were to stop using a vehicle or sell a vehicle or take it, you weren't using it for the business, whatever, there's slots for the different vehicles and each one is supposed to be tracked separately. Commuter miles and personal miles and business miles, which we don't have to put in, whatever is not business miles, which is all we're counting.
Right.
Unless you need to count charity miles or medical miles, which you get a deduction for, but that's only on itemized Schedule A. So, sorry.
Well,
that kind of went in the weeds.
I'll figure that one out. The other question I have is, so I want to be more of a tax evader this year and avoid.
No, don't say that.
No, a tax avoider, not
Avoider.
evader.
Yes, avoider.
Yeah. Better choose my words wisely here. I want to avoid taxes, not evade taxes.
Yes, thank you. Appreciate that. We're not
Anyway,
evading anything.
So I have always been very cautious with meals on trips and stuff like that. So I'm going to a 2-day show in Tulsa. Leaving at 5:00 in the morning. Does my coffee and biscuit at McDonald's at 7:00 count as a meal? Or
Yes.
yeah?
Yeah.
All right.
Every bit of food and lodging to get to a location and back that you are doing business at is deductible. If you're going, where did you say you were going to?
Tulsa.
Okay, so you're going to Tulsa. And if you were going to go to Tulsa and you're doing business, but while you're in Tulsa, you're going to do some sightseeing. Say you're there for a week. And of the week, 5 days are you're going to be doing business on some part of that day. And 2 days, you're going to just enjoy being there. So all of the mileage, all of the travel expense to get to Tulsa is deductible. All of the travel expense and food and whatnot to get home is deductible. All of the lodging and the meals for the 5 days that you're doing business is deductible. And then the 2 days that you're not doing business, your lodging and your meals are on your own.
Yeah. Mine's more of just going there to get at the show first thing on Friday, stay overnight in an Airbnb, go back to the show on Saturday, drive 2 hours back home Saturday night. So, I mean, it's just, it's pretty cut and dry there. I just want to.
It's all deductible.
Yeah. Here's one for you. So part of the trip, I have to get on the Oklahoma Turnpike. They are doing away with the toll booths, and everything is now, a fast pass, easy pass, pike pass is what they call it. I think I'm going to have to open an account, and the $35.
I pay for the whole thing out of my business account, and I don't even.
Oh, well, the only reason I go to Tulsa is for business or sourcing. So, but my
Well, if
question
you
is,
follow what I tell everybody to do, then every time you get in the vehicle is gonna be business, so that 100% of your miles are business. So, but my point is, I have one around here. You can't get away with not having a easy
right, absolutely.
pass.
So my question is that I have to give them $35 up front on my debit card, right?
Right.
And
Just
so
your business account.
I'm not going to be able to go to Tulsa enough this year to cover that $35. Do I just write the $35 off anyway? And
Yes.
okay, fine. I just don't want this to become
We don't accrue anything. We don't, when we make a payment for anything, because of the size of our businesses, we're none of us are at the $26 million club. Because of the size of our businesses, we just expense it. Nothing gets accrued. It doesn't matter that you're not going to use it all this year.
Okay. That's what I wanted to find out. So with that, I'll say goodbye, but I will be making my annual 1 or 2 appointments with you just to cover all the bases.
I thought you were done already.
Where I took on a project at my church that turned out much bigger than I ever imagined, and I have 4 more sessions and it is done, but I will be done in time to go see my accountant without an extension. Now, I hope that does not throw off the whole IRS.
The universe will be fine. It'll survive without you doing an extension.
And just for the record, I meant to say avoid, not evade. Thank you.
Avoid. Only avoid.
Hey, you take care. Thank you
You
all.
too, Carl. Thanks for
Goodbye.
coming and stopping by. All right. Winding down. Mandy says, if I sit at a cafe and do my listings, is that meal deductible? I don't know. Is that if you are sitting at the cafe outside of your normal travel zone and you are not, would it be deductible if you weren't doing your listings there? That's probably the easier way to put it. So just because you're doing your listings there doesn't make it deductible, because that's not your place of business. So hopefully that helps and answers your question. Let's see. All right. Well, that catches up all of the comments and questions. And so unless there's something else, Cindy's getting ready to leave too. Thanks for coming. Reach out if we'll get your situation taken care of.
Okay. It's probably an end user problem. I keep downloading the thing, but it says I don't have an account on Gumroad, but I think it's because you sent it to me because I paid through PayPal.
I'm looking at your Sam email. It's in Gumroad. So that's the email that you used.
Yeah. It just told me.
I just sent you a message because I also have because I never purchased the full worksheet from you, so I have to figure out find out how to do, because you had just sent me for 2021, remember?
Oh, right.
So I have to buy the full worksheet so I can have it for 2022 and 2023.
Okay.
So I'll get with you, I guess, after on that.
Right. Perfect.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
This was enlightening.
Yeah.
And
I
I
wait
did
to get
all
the
of my,
numbers in there.
yeah, I mean, I don't have the worksheet, so I just wrote them all down so that when I get the worksheet, I can just plug everything in. But I think that's the most organized I've ever been in a single month.
I printed out my things, so I have my.
I'm so good. I put it all down here while you were talking. I got all my expenses.
I put them in my bag with my receipt.
I got some warm and fuzzies. It's like hug.
I'm gonna try and do this every month with you, because this is so good for me to just like be forced to do it this way.
And
This
that's
is
my
genius.
whole point. Everybody was really struggling with, okay, I can do anything else.
Yeah.
I can do another listing. I can take more photos. I can do anything else.
I
And the
even got my
people
whole
that
month
needed it the most were the people that have the time to be here at noon.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I know. It's funny. I used to use other things for excuses for why I wasn't listing, and now I'm using listing as an excuse for why I don't do other things I need to take care of. I've never done that before. I'm like, oh, sorry, can't do that. I have to do my listings. It's like, but it works the other way too. It's like I'm using listing now to avoid doing things that need to be done, because listing is really high on the list of priorities,
But you have to know your numbers.
yes,
Yeah.
it's true.
Yeah.
It's true.
You can't grow that business if you don't know your numbers.
Yeah.
In order to and making the right decisions. Yep.
Yeah.
Well,
Not
hopefully
Perry
I
Ellis.
will see you all over in Michelle's call, and we can all go over there and wreak havoc.
Oh yeah, good
Is
idea.
it Michelle, or are we up to Linda now?
Yeah, she's
No,
probably done.
we still got Michelle for another hour and a half.
Okay. I'm gonna grab a
What
sandwich.
time is her? I thought her call was 10.
I don't know. It's 1:08
Eastern?
here.
So for me,
I
It
can't
is-
see the call schedule anymore, and I keep asking everybody, like, it doesn't go there for me. So I don't know where anything is now, and now I wish I printed it out when I had it.
so the clothing call runs from 1:00 Eastern, so 10 a.m.
And my time,
Pacific,
and my time, yeah.
to 3:30 Eastern, so noon Pacific, right?
Oh.
No, 12:30 Pacific.
Okay,
so
so
there's no
Michelle
time.
has another hour and a half.
Got it. Okay.
Okay.
And then the jewelry call starts after that.
Yeah.
But it's
Cheryl,
gonna
you're in Maryland?
Yeah.
Are you near Baltimore? Are you in Baltimore?
I'm about 2-ish, depending on traffic and whatnot, and where in Baltimore. So to get to the outskirts of Baltimore, I'm about an hour and a half.
Oh, where are you?
I'm in southern Maryland on the western shore, Solomon's Island. If you look up Solomon.
Oh. Yeah, because I went to school in Baltimore, and then my summer after college, I lived temporarily on the eastern shore with my boyfriend at the time at his grandmother's house. So, and then I moved to Northern Virginia after we moved to Northern Virginia. So I lived in what do you call it? Sterling. I lived out in Sterling, and I worked in DC. That whole like.
And then you went all the way to California?
Yeah, well, because my college boyfriend was like really trying to get into the computer animation industry, and he had lived in San Diego. He was a Navy brat, so he had lived in San Diego, really wanted to move back to California, and like we were both kind of working, but neither of us was very happy in our job. And like I was commuting to DC every day, which if you know anything about that area, it was. I had a carpool, so I could drive on the 66. But on the days like when I didn't have carpool, it would take me 2.5 hours to get to work. And I was working 2 jobs, and then I was working 1 job, and I wasn't very happy. And so we literally, because we kept saying, oh, well, we'll move to California when we have the money. Well, you know, that never happened. So we were just like, I came home from work one day and I was like, let's move to California. And he was like, really? So it was only a year later that we moved out here. And then of course we split like just under 2 years later. But, and I, you know, I had a job and I had friends and I didn't really have anything to go back to because I'm from New York originally. And my parents in the interim had moved to Arizona. So they were, all I had left in New York was like my grandparents. And so, you know, I stayed in California and here I am 23 years. I moved here in December of 99. So I've been here a long time, but, yeah, I'm born and raised East Coaster.
But
yeah,
you don't
I
have
am
the
born and
accent.
raised East Coaster, and as first chance I get, I'm going west. I'm not going to California, but
Don't come here.
I'm not living. I can't deal with politics. I will not live in California, but we went to Yosemite 2 years ago. 20, I don't remember. 2019 maybe.
Yeah.
And loved it. I loved it. I had so much fun. Just traveling around. Now I didn't
Yeah.
like driving through LA.
No, I have a very love-hate relationship with LA. I always have. I mean, it's gotten better over the years, but I can honestly tell you, it took me like 4 or 5 years to say, oh, I like it here, because it's just, if you're like an East Coaster, like you're from New York, New Jersey, like, you know, that it's just like, everything is kind of like what you see is what you get. We don't mince words, and there's not a lot of pussyfooting around stuff. And here it's like, you know, you have to make nicey nice to everyone, and like you don't want to hurt anyone's feelings, and people are always talking about each other behind their backs and like smiling to your face, and like I have a very low threshold for that stuff.
I have no threshold for that.
Yeah, no, and I had a really hard time here in the beginning, like for years. And so, you know, now I have like, you know, my group of friends. Of course, most of them are not from here. And you know, it's fine, but it's,
So
I
you
do have a
have
love
some
hate
real
relationship.
people friends.
Yeah. I mean, the weather is like, you really can't, we had like the best weather in the whole country. It's like there really is nowhere. Although this year was brutally hot in the summer and we're having a very cold and rainy winter. Not that I'm complaining. I actually kind of like the cold and the rain, but
Yeah, but what is your cold?
Yeah.
well,
Like
the last few weeks, like, yeah, it's not like what you know, we've had like high 30s, low 40s at night, and it's been like, yeah, which is chilly for here.
That's
and
pretty
then like
cold for there.
Yeah, that is
in the
cold for
50s,
there.
like yesterday the high was like 57, and like the day before
it's
was like 54,
26
which is
here.
low. Yeah, no, I know. I mean, I know.
Right now.
You know, I think I forget sometimes. It's like, hello, you're from
Where are
New
you
York.
at, Dawn?
It was like,
In Wisconsin.
but you know,
Oh,
20
okay.
something years
Southern
later, it's like,
Wisconsin.
I can't take that weather anymore. Your blood
Are you
thins
near
out.
near Chicago border, like Kenosha, or?
I'm about an hour and a half north of there.
Okay.
I'm actually seriously considering Wyoming.
I
Cold there
could
in the
see you
winter.
there. I could see you living off grid.
The whole thing is I will have a camper so that I can travel, and I probably will not be there during the winter.
Yeah.
Nico lives there, and so I talk to her on a regular basis from the group, and she's in
Okay, yeah.
Wyoming, and she's talking about she travels to the Bends and then gets stranded and
And
has
you have to stay in the hotel.
Yeah, so yeah, if it's gonna be cold, I want snow. But my point is I want my legal home to be in Wyoming, because there's
Tax breaks.
no state taxes and there's no corporate taxes.
Ooh.
Yeah. So
But
it's
if
all
you-
about the taxes.
But if
Well,
you
what
have-
is it like? I know a few people that have moved to Texas in the last couple of years because they don't have, isn't it like they don't have any income tax there? Like what's
There's no
the,
income tax, right?
So it's like, you know, I have a friend who we lived in a triplex before we moved to this house, and she and her husband lived up front. They were in like a tiny 1-bedroom apartment, and we were in like a 2-bedroom. And they moved out of LA, and we did the same. And then they were like, we're out of here. And they moved to Texas. And like within a year and a half, they were able to buy a house there. And here they never would have been able to buy a house. And I mean, it's just, you know, the real estate market is insane here. But I know a couple of people who are just like, sorry, we're moving to Texas. I would never want to live in Texas for other reasons, but like, you know, I mean, she bought a big house, like not like a little house either. It's not, you know, so
Texas is actually on my list. There are somewhere between 7 and 10 states that are retirement friendly. You know, no income taxes, no state taxes. Now they may have higher real estate taxes. Nevada is a really good one. Wyoming, Delaware, Texas. I can't remember them all.
I think Tennessee is one too.
Can you have a corporation though be in Wyoming, but you don't have to live there?
Yep. So that was one of the things that I was talking about.
You can live in Bora Bora.
You can live anywhere and have a corporation somewhere else.
Cindy, I'm coming with you. I want to go to Bora Bora.
Okay.
Belize? Anybody ever?
Belize? Yeah.
Belize?
I'm in.
Yeah.
I'd like to go to Belize.
Right now. I want to be warm.
My sister just got back from Cancun. She was posting all these pictures. Like their hotel was like the pool and then like the beach. And there are all these photos where it's just like the pool and the beach. It's like one and it was like beautiful every day. And I was like, I want to go to Cancun right now.
One of those infinity pools, like it looks like you're gonna swim right into the ocean.
And it looked like the angles she kept taking the photos from, it looked like there was no beach, like between, obviously there was, but it was like, it was amazing because her kids were all like sitting on the edge of the infinity pool, and then there was like the ocean in the background, and I was like, oh my God.
That's me, because I don't want to get in the ocean, but
be near the ocean, although there you could swim in the, I'm more, and actually by you, I'm an Atlantic Ocean person. I never go in the ocean here. It's dirty and it's cold. I mean, like real cold, like even in the summer when it's like 100 degrees. Whereas like on the East Coast, you know, like we used to vacation like in Florida, you could, you know, it's like bath water down there, and I would go in the ocean there, but I am not interested in swimming in 72 degree or 65 degree water. Like
I would go and just play.
I'll have to send you a video, Rachel. We went, well, maybe that was the trip. So I think in 2019 was when we drove cross country because my stepson got stationed in Seattle. And when we got to Oregon, to the West Coast, that was the first time any of us had been on the West Coast. And Steve and his son Brian, I've got video where they ran. It was June. It was mid-June. But it was cold that day, and on the beach, and it was in the evening, and it was windy. Oh my goodness, it was so windy. And they took off running to go jump in the water on the West Coast for the first time they'd ever gotten in. I was like, I'm not doing this.
And we get, you know, that
they got in, and then immediately was like,
run back out. And we get like that, you know, that marine layer. You hear everybody talk about the marine layer. It's like a real thing. So it's like where I live, it could be 95 degrees, and I go to the beach and it is completely overcast and 60. Like it, because that marine layer will sometimes roll in, and usually it burns off like 12, 1 o'clock. But like there are times like in the summer when it just sits there over the you know, the coast. And so like all those people who live like in Marina Del Rey and Santa Monica and like all those West Side people, like you could live over there and not have any air conditioning. Like I lived, even when I first moved to LA, I lived in like the middle of LA. My first few apartments had no air conditioning. And the truth was I only needed it maybe like 2 or 3 weeks out of the year. But like the further out you go, like we're not technically, I don't know if they were technically or not technically in the valley, but like we're north of Pasadena where we are now, but we're in like the mountains. And so we have our own little separate microclimate here. But in the summer, I mean, this past summer was just brutal, but it's, you know, it's crazy because it'll be, you know, 95 degrees here. And then at the beach, it's like a completely different climate. Like
We
It's
even
weird.
get
And
that
there are a lot of
from
times where it's like you go to the beach and the wind is blowing and it's like it's not fun. Like who wants to sit on the beach when it's like windy and cold and overcast?
we even get that from Lake Michigan.
Oh
In yeah,
same thing.
that
Yeah.
it's cooler by the lake in the summer, and then in the
Well,
winter it's
I mean,
warmer.
Lake Michigan is more like an ocean. It's not
Yeah.
Right.
the fact
I mean,
that
it's
it's
just, you know,
considered
LA
a
is like
lake.
a valley. So it's like everything that's on the right side of the mountains is like one temperature. And then everything that's what we call the valley, which is like on the other side of the mountains or over the hill. And it's really funny because it's like when you know, our traffic is so bad here. And when you talk to people, it's like people who live in the valley never go to the city. And the people who live in the city never go to the valley. They're like two different, because like if I want to go sourcing, and I do, there are times when I have to go sourcing in certain parts of the city that are over the hill. That's what we call it. It takes me an hour to get there. It's 19 miles away. And so it's like, you know, if
That
I'm
would drive
lucky,
me insane.
and sometimes it might take me only an hour, 40 or 50 minutes to get there. But then because of the time I return, now it's an hour and a half to get home. So, you know, I have to like
There's
plan.
no
It's kind of
public
like a Christmas stuff.
transportation at all.
What's that?
There's no public transportation. Like
No, I
there's
have
no
a running joke about our public transportation. Is that it goes from nowhere people are to nowhere people want to go. Like it's just, I mean, if you live in LA proper, they are starting to add more. Like eventually the metro is going to go all the way to the beach. But like I don't have access to the metro from where I live. So I have to
Yeah.
go either all the way into Pasadena or all the way into Studio City if I want to get the metro. And when we lived in Burbank, I used to do that on occasion so that, you know, because parking downtown was like really expensive. So I'd go into like Universal, I'd park my car in Universal and take the metro to downtown. But it's like I had to drive to get to the metro. And we have a bus system, but like it's just as bad as driving in a car because the buses ride on the same roads except for certain areas as the rest of traffic. And ew, who wants to ride the bus in LA? It is not like and I'm a subway person because, you know, I grew up in New York and like I use the subway even when I was in DC and, you know, in that area. And it's our subway is.
It's not like in Europe.
Not even a little bit. And also what's weird is I never really feel safe there. Like, and part of it is the lack of people. Like you'll go to a station and there'll be like 3 people on the platform and they all look kind of shady. And it's not like I feel safest when there's lots of people around. Like, you know, I know that like, I mean, it gives me anxiety for a different reason. But like, if I go to New York and I'm like in a station by myself and there's no one else, there's like 2 other people. It's like, that's perfect. Like you're prime target. But like you go to a station and there's 50 people. It's like, you know, you're not going to get mugged in, you know, amongst 50 people. But in LA, it's just, I mean, we have a really, you know, we have bad homeless.
Instead.
What's that?
So now you'll get shanked instead.
Well, yeah. I mean, but it's just, yeah. I wish we had. I would use it all the time if we had better public transportation. I would use it.
You would think. I mean, we have to work on the infrastructure because European countries have such great,
I know,
like the Euro rail and stuff.
I know.
We need something like that.
Yeah, it's.
All right, I'm heading over to Michelle's call.
Yeah,
I'm going to.
Yeah, Michelle, go. All right. Thank you again, Cheryl.
Thank you.
Thank you, Cheryl.
I hope everyone enjoyed it. Thank you for coming. Thank you for your questions. And I look forward to the next time. I will be back in a couple of weeks to do the walkthrough on OLT.com with for the Schedule C and answer tax questions for that. So in the meantime, go to OLT.com. Let me put that banner up right quick. OLT. OLT.com, and that will be coming up in a couple of weeks. So use that, and I will do a walkthrough with you guys on that particular website. Say no to that other tax software that starts with a T. Say no to the one that starts with an H. And I'll see you back here shortly. Reach out if you have any questions. Thanks. Bye.